guys, my name is Ethan Cocchi, and I'm your host today, and this is Nights at the Round Table. We have a special guest with us today, Mr. Tarver. He's a theater teacher at Sota. Give him a round of applause, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Tarver, how's your day been today?
Great. We had a busy day down in the theater world. We're getting ready for Hadestown.
When is
a lot
that?
to do. We open March 6th.
March 6th.
Yeah.
At school or at LAC?
It's here. It's here in our main auditorium.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Tickets
good to
on sale now on GoFan.
Really?
Come check it out. It's
Already?
going to be incredible.
Do you think it's going to be better than the other ones we've had?
I think that this is the most ambitious thing we've ever done.
Really?
Yeah.
You think it's
for
going to be
sure.
the biggest and most?
Just on the tech side, on the performance side, top to bottom, it's a really ambitious thing that Miss Quinones is putting together.
Okay. So, how were you introduced to music and theater?
So my origin story is a little weird. I was a jock my whole
Really?
childhood. Played every sport, soccer, baseball, basketball. I was awful at most of them.
Okay, yeah.
I got to high school, played football and lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Again, not great. I wasn't awful at lacrosse, but I was never great at any
Right.
sport. And then my senior year, there was this group that did these like totally unauthorized, illegal stage versions of movies.
Okay.
So, they had the support of the faculty, but it was entirely student produced. They like put the script together from the film script.
Right.
The first year they did it, there's a movie that you've heard of, Empire Records.
Never
No? Okay.
heard of it in my
It's from the
life.
90s. It's about a record shop. A record shop, kids, is where you had to go to buy music before the internet.
I think
You're familiar with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure with that.
Great movie, Empire Records. They turned our theater, into a record
Right, that's
store. Cool thing. I saw it my junior year, and I was like, that looks like a lot of fun. My senior year, they announced they're doing The Breakfast Club.
Oh, okay, I've seen that one.
You've seen that one.
Yes,
There's a
most definitely.
character that is the jock.
Right.
And I was like, well, if I was ever going to give this a shot, this might be the time. I had grown up, I liked performing. I mean, I think it's part of what I liked about sports. I also, I was very cool. I did close-up magic.
Oh, okay.
I do card tricks and things like that. I wrote short stories and poems. Like, I liked the idea of making stuff for people, but I'd never specifically done theater. And yes, I see these auditions, and I go and I get cast as the jock.
Okay, there you go.
Fairly typecasting. Go in, have a great time. But I'm like, cool, I did a play. Yeah, I'm never going to do that again. Because it was we performed spring of my senior year of high school. And I quit the football and lacrosse team to do the show.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I said, I wasn't very good. And nobody missed me. Nobody missed me. But so I get to college, and I'm going to answer some of your questions now. Sorry. I get to college, and when I get there, I'm a business major. Major in business, minor in communication. I'm convinced I'm like going to go into advertising or something.
Right.
I'm living in a dorm, and at Georgia Southern University, where I got my undergrad, in this dorm, you could like pick the things that you were interested in. And I picked film and television. I loved movies, I loved watching movies and television. So I wanted to live on this floor with other people that liked watching movies, and we would have like movie nights and stuff. And it was cool. Floor below us was the theater floor.
Oh, God.
And so, that first week of college, there's a lot of just like kind of walking around and knocking on people's doors and be like, hey, I live below you, or, whatever. And so me and my friend, we go down and we pop down to the theater floor and meet the folks down there. And I say, oh, yeah, I did one play in high school. It was a lot of fun, but, I'm not an actor. I just, I was a jock who played a jock. It wasn't a stretch. And they're like, no, man, you got to come audition. You got to come audition. So I go and I audition for the show that my freshman year, and I get cast.
Yeah, give it a second to pass. There you go.
So I go out and I audition.
What play was
for
that?
the show? That first year, it was a show called oh man, it's by Langford Wilson. The name of the play is. Nope, it's not in there.
You remember the writer, but not the name.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
okay.
remember the playwright. Something had. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Y'all can look it up.
Were you a big role, or were you like?
I was the dad.
Okay.
Which would continue a trend through my entire college career. I was 18 and I could grow a full beard, so I played everybody's dad.
Yeah, normally is what it sets you up for.
Yep. So, it began my long career of college shows, playing the dad roles while I was there. And I just there was no like one day where I was like, well, I'm an actor now, or well, I do theater now.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like every day I got a little bit closer and a little bit closer, and I wound up that I graduated. After 4 years, I had switched away from the business major and I switched to public relations. It was a little bit closer to theater. Mm-hmm. And I had a minor in theater. And then I am getting ready to graduate, and it's 2008, December 2008. Wow. And we're in the middle of a recession.
Oh, yeah.
The economy is awful. There are no jobs, particularly in something as unessential as public relations. Like,
right.
There weren't jobs. And, I'd kind of been in contact with people in that industry, and prospects weren't good. So I go back to my advisor and I say, hey, what would it take to get the theater degree? I mean, because I have the minor. Mm-hmm. It's like, and she was like, 3 semesters. I was like, well, I could stay in school for 3 semesters, get that theater degree, and then I graduate. Now I've got 2 degrees. I've got a degree in public relations and a degree in theater. And, when I leave and go out into the world, I'll have sort of two avenues.
Options, yeah.
2 avenues. It just turned out that theater was a lot more fun than writing press releases.
Yeah, I think it would be.
And even though, the work was not always plentiful, I delivered plenty of pizzas and flipped mini burgers while also working in the theater. But it always was really rewarding and really satisfying. So that's where I found myself. I'm sorry, it's a very long answer to your question.
No, that's a great.
You will find I'm a
answer.
storyteller. That's what drew me to theater in the first place, was the chance to tell stories.
So what made you switch from like being an actor in theater to switching to tech?
So that's a great question. I got to Atlanta, and I'd kind of decided. I'm from here. Grew up in Alpharetta, so I grew up in the Atlanta area. So when I graduated, I said, okay, I'll come back to Atlanta, and the film scene was just starting to really take off at this point. It's 2010 now. Mm-hmm. Film is doing well, and the theater scene is growing. So I'll give it a shot. So I get here, and I work as an actor, as a director, as a stage manager. But the reality about theater as a career, with the exception of the very, very highest level people, you have to do a bunch of jobs.
Right.
You don't get to just do your one thing. It's not like being an accountant where you just show up to work every day and account.
Right.
Sometimes you're getting work as an actor. Sometimes you're getting work in other areas of the theater. Sometimes it's education in the theater. Sometimes it's working in the box office. Sometimes it's delivering pizzas. Right. Everybody's path is different, but I know very, very few people in the professional industry who literally the only thing they do is perform.
Okay.
It's just non-existent. I mean, even at the highest level, even folks in Broadway, they're still teaching classes. They're still
I've seen people.
Yeah, they're teaching workshops. They're doing tours. They're finding other ways because
like when we went up to New York as a class. And
exactly.
We saw
exactly. You're never gonna
the MJ actress.
Yes. The dancer from MJ led that workshop, and it's one of those things where even when you're employed, you're still looking for a job because the best gigs in the world, they just don't last forever. And so you're always, even, you're working at night and doing things during the day, or you're working during the day and picking up other things at night. So same was true for me. But I found that if I learned how to do things like build sets and do things like lights and sound and...
You need to figure out how to get rid of that bell. That's what I need you to do.
Yeah. There's a closet around here with an amp in it that's powering that. I can find that for you.
Yeah, thank
Just don't tell anybody.
Well, it's going
Yeah. So, whoops. But yeah, so I was working, but not every day. So I was like, well, what other skills can I get to make it so that every day I work just a little bit more inside of the theater. And I think really where I locked in and honed my skills was in when I started helping to produce work. So in the theater, there's a lot of different types of jobs. One of them is producer.
Right.
And in the theater, what a producer does is really they enable everybody else to do their job. So sometimes it's as simple as providing the money. If it's a big, if you're talking about Broadway, like producers, they're figuring out the money. They're hiring the director. They're hiring the very top level people on a production.
Okay.
At the smaller level, producers are just scrapping and scraping and begging and borrowing to get whatever everybody needs to make it happen. So when I started producing the things that I wanted to see that weren't being done, that was when I had to learn how to do everything. Right. Because even if I wasn't directing, if you're producing and there's a problem with the lights, if you don't have the money to pay someone to come fix
then
it,
you have to do it yourself.
you're going up that ladder, whatever it is. And so when I hit that part of my sort of artistic journey, that was really where I had to learn how to do everything. And that really is what prepared me for this job.
Okay.
In school, I really thought I was going to be an actor and a director. Like that was all I really studied. I took a technical theater class. I was an awful student.
Really?
Straight
Didn't
up.
pay
I got
attention
a
at all?
C in tech theater. Barely, I probably didn't even deserve to pass. Just my teacher liked me. I just, I was an arrogant 20-year-old who was like, I'm the best thing that's ever happened to theater. And legitimately, I did not appreciate how much, I did not fully appreciate how holistic you have to be to have a career in theater. Again, with the exception of the absolute highest level people, if you want to have a life in this industry and a life in this art form, you got to be, you got to have something to offer, right? You got to have something, because there's a lot of people that want to act and there's a lot of people that want to direct.
There's not a lot of people who want to get back down there and fix everything.
Right, exactly. And that was ultimately what I wanted. I wanted the chance to just have a life in this art. I wanted to work with people that I respected, and I wanted to work with people that I liked. And the best way to do that was just to make myself useful. So I learned how to do anything and everything.
I mean, finding where you fit in anywhere is like, that's how you make the most money. That's how you have a life somewhere. Like if you want to make money in music, just being a studio musician or being an engineer and stuff like that. Like that's just the best way to make it, because nobody wants to be the engineer and the people behind the screen. They want to be Taylor Swift up on stage making millions and millions of dollars. Certainly
when you're 17 and 18, that's what seems the most interesting and the most exciting. But yeah, I think as folks get older in any industry, you start to realize, oh, actually the nitty gritty of this stuff actually is pretty interesting. And it's pretty fun when you get good at it, the challenges become less about, I don't know how to do this thing, and become about I get to figure out how to do this thing, right? It's a fun challenge as opposed to just like a hurdle you got to get past, which is how it can feel when you're young and you're starting out and you don't know how to do anything and everything just feels like, oh God, I'm never going to be good at this. But once you get just a little bit better, you start to realize like, oh, okay, I can. You start to have enough sort of background skills that when you run into something you've never done before, it's not daunting to figure it out.
You can kind of figure it out and work it out on your own. Was your family supportive of you pursuing the arts? I kind of soft launched my career in the arts. My family was not unsupportive, but I think if I had been 17 saying, "Hey, I want to go to college for theater," I don't know that they would have been as excited for me as I would have been. So like I said, when I got there, started out as a business major and sort of slowly transitioned over to art.
So as I think I gave my parents a long time to get used to the idea.
Get used to the idea of you pursuing the arts instead of making press releases for famous people. Okay. What do you think the hardest part about entering the tech field was?
I think the hardest part is learning to admit when you don't know how to do something.
Okay.
Learning to be okay and confident enough that they want you there and they want to help you get better. So when I first started, I felt like I had to walk in knowing how to do everything, and if I didn't, I had to like fake it. I had to pretend that I knew how to do everything, and I would be like, "Oh yes, yes sir, can do." And then I'm over in the corner googling.
Googling how to
this
do
would
it.
have been like 2011, so I'm probably not even googling on my phone. I'm having to just kind of hope I can figure it out. And I honestly, I made I wouldn't say burn any bridges, but like that's not a good look to say you can do something and then not be able to do it when the person who's there who wants you to be good at it, right? It is in their best interest for you to be good and self-sufficient. If you just say, you know what, actually, I don't know how to do that thing, but if you'll show me, I got you. And learning to kind of swallow that pride and learning to recognize that, like, I already got the job. I don't have to pretend to be something I'm not. I just have to be good at learning how to do it.
Yeah,
right? I gotta.
to learn how to do everything.
Exactly. I gotta be. It doesn't matter if I'm good at doing any one thing. If I'm good at learning how to do new things, that will keep me employed and keep people interested in me because they know. Oh well, yeah, he's never done that, but he's picked up everything else I've ever showed him. So, yeah, bring him in and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and that's a good thing just to be able to soak in everything that like somebody tells you and just learn it all very quickly. And that's something that comes very important in like the music industry, just being able to learn something on the spot. What is your favorite show or project that you've worked on?
I mean, you're not gonna like the answer, but the truth is whatever I'm doing right now. Like,
so you're gonna say
in
Hadestown
currently, but 3 months from now it'll be whatever the next thing is. Like, theater is a very everything we do has an expiration date. Everything we do, we put in literally hundreds of hours to get ready for 3 performances.
Yeah, I mean,
and when they're done, they're done. And if you weren't there, you didn't see it, and it's never going to exist outside of that. So the true answer is whatever I'm doing right now. If you're going to push me for
one
specific one, I'll be selfish and say the first thing that I got to direct here. It was the second show that came out of our theater department. It was called Eurydice. It was in the Black
I watched
Box.
that. It was very good.
Yeah, I think it was our first show in the Black Box. And that was my first time directing these new students that were here for Sota. I was at Central Gwinnett before Sota.
Oh, you were?
Yes, I was. And I loved the students that I got to work with. I loved the Central community. And I did. I taught theater for several years before Sota started. So that first time getting to work with these students who were so hungry was
to
like
do all of it. Yeah.
Oh my God! It was a revelation.
They
getting
had so much motivation and
yeah,
stuff like
and
that.
like I said, the folks that I worked with before Sota, they were great. They were talented, but they hadn't spent 10 years of their life being like, I want to be as good at this as I possibly can, and I'm going to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, half these kids have been doing it since they were like
exactly
5 years old.
Exactly. So when they walked in and it was for the first time like doing a show with students who were as excited to be in the room as I was it was a real revelation. It was a real like
Game changer.
It can be this way. This is amazing. Yeah.
Do you still do like shows after school? Like if you not during the school year?
Yeah, occasionally. So, you mean like professionally? Like
yeah.
So I have in the last few years, I've designed some sets.
Okay.
For Aurora and there's a local group called the Weird Sisters. They're an independent theater coalition. And I've gotten to I've gotten to design some of their sets.
Okay.
and that's been a lot of fun. Lately, this job has taken every ounce I have. So I have not done anything in the last year.
Okay.
But I look forward to it's always one of those things where like I'm excited when I say yes, and then I dread it
The whole time.
and then when I finally start working on it, it's fun. But
And then when you finish it, it's even better.
It's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I spend the whole time like, oh, why did I say yes to that? Oh, why did I say yes to that?
Yeah, I feel the same
So
way.
yeah, I look forward to, and I'd love to act again. That would be a lot of fun if the opportunity ever presents itself. So yeah.
What interested you in teaching specifically?
So like I said, every actor I know also teaches.
Okay.
They work in education in some capacity. It's just it's part of the deal. Summer camps and workshops, or
Right.
even just teaching adults acting classes, or teaching acting classes for kids. Everybody I know in the industry works education adjacent. And so I had some experience. I'd gone into some schools as part of there's a company in Atlanta, the Shakespeare Tavern,
Okay.
Atlanta Shakespeare Company, and they do these workshops where they go into Atlanta high schools and teach, teach Shakespeare, either by doing a whole show or just by doing like a one-day workshop. And so I'd helped with those, and I'd done summer camps and things like that. And when Central was looking for a new teacher, they knew Sota might be happening. It still was not 100% official,
Okay.
but they knew that like if this vote passed in 2018, like if that vote was a yes, then Sota would happen. So I was hired in 2017.
Okay.
They were looking for someone that like could come work now and maybe would be a good fit once Sota
Sota
happened.
came around.
So when they were looking for somebody, they called Aurora Theater, and they said, "Hey, we're looking for somebody who can do all the stuff on the tech side, also could teach acting." I was lucky.
Suggested.
They suggested me.
So did you have to get like a degree? Did you have to go to school and get something for teaching?
So once I began teaching, yes, you have 3 years in Gwinnett County
Okay.
to get certified. It depends on what area you're in. Usually, you do have to have a bachelor's degree in the area you're trying to teach. I did have a bachelor's in theater, so they would let me come in and start teaching. Then I had 3 years to get certified.
Okay.
And in that 3 years, I got certified and got my master's degree in theater education from
Okay.
Columbus State
you go.
University. It was that was over the pandemic. Going back to school, it was odd. The first half of my time there was before pandemic, and then
Right.
it hit in the middle, and it was like so
It
odd.
was so awkward just to like experience all of it.
Yeah. And it gave me an appreciation as I'm teaching students during the day, and then I'm going to
Get taught.
online classes at night. And it was a lesson in like, oh, okay, not everything works, with digital learning. Like, you have to adjust things. But yeah, so I got that master's in theater education from Columbus State.
Okay. Last thing before we move on to the monologues.
Sure.
What is your favorite memory since you started working here?
So my favorite memory since I started working here, I think the very first musical we ever did was SpongeBob.
Oh yeah,
that was
I remember
our
SpongeBob.
first year.
It was pretty good. It was funny.
And it was the first show we did that year was Night Witches. It was a beautiful show for one act. It was small, but it was really beautiful storytelling. And then I directed Eurydice, and it was wonderful and beautiful. But when we did SpongeBob and took a show over to the LAC, it was just something else. And that was when I saw our kids up on that stage on a set that we built here and traveled over there and put together. It was like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
This is real. We're gonna have, we're gonna do good work here. At that point, having seen a show that Miss McLean put together, and then Quinones did the did SpongeBob, and so like, and I had done Eurydice. Just sort of seeing at the end of that first year this sort of magic soup that was coming together, and it was like, okay, I think we're gonna be able to make this happen. I think we might do some special stuff here.
And then now it's progressed so far.
Yeah,
and you're experimenting with newer stuff like Hadestown.
Yeah, it just keeps getting better and keeps getting stronger. But I think that first time, opening night of SpongeBob at the LAC, probably my favorite memory. Not necessarily like my favorite show that we've done, but that moment of like
just seeing everybody out there.
Yeah, this is going to happen. Yeah, right. This is going to be good. That was a cool moment.
All right, we're going to move on to the monologue.
All right.
I have 3 here for you. I'm going to let you pick one. I have one that I really hope you pick.
Okay.
But I'm not going to influence your decision at all. So pick one of the 3.
Anyone?
Anyone.
Okay.
You do you.
All right. You sure you don't want to just tell me which one?
I'm sure.
All right. You're looking at this one like,
no?
You looking at this one? No? Okay, all right. Okay. Queen Elizabeth I's Tilbury speech. Okay. Am I going to do an Elizabethan accent?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it'd be hilarious.
True story. Scholars believe that at the time that Queen Elizabeth was alive, the accent that people would have had in London, the closest thing to it today is how people speak in West Virginia.
Really?
Yeah, the sort of Appalachian
cornbread-fed accent.
Well, that
what? That's what we call
it. It was slow and long vowels, but I won't do that. Okay. All right.
Let's hear it.
Okay, here we go. I'm really debating this accent.
I'm really
debating it.
I think it's going to be great.
All right. I got to find it. Hold on. Posh English. Well, what word? Oh, I got to find a word to get into it. Let's see. Treachery. 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 My loving people, we have been persuaded by some that are careful of our safety to take heed how we commit ourselves to armed multitudes for fear of treachery. But I assure you, I do not desire to live to distrust my faithful and loving people. Let tyrants fear. I have always so behaved myself that under God I have placed my chiefest strength and safeguard in the loyal hearts and goodwill of my subjects. And therefore I come amongst you, as you see, at this time, not for my recreation and disport, but being resolved in the midst and heat of the battle to live and die amongst you all, to lay down for my God and for my kingdom and my people, my honor and my blood, even in the dust. I know I have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king, and of a king of England, too. And think, foul scorn, that Parma or Spain or any prince of Europe should dare to invade the borders of my realm, to which rather than any dishonor shall grow by me. I, myself, will take up arms. I, myself, will be your general, judge, and rewarder of every one of your virtues in the field. I know already. For your forwardness, you have deserved rewards and crowns. And we do assure you on a word of a prince, they shall be duly paid. In the meantime, my lieutenant general shall be in my stead than whomever prince commanded a more noble or worthy subject, not doubting, but by your obedience to my general, by your concord in the camp, and your valor in the field, we shall shortly have a famous victory over these enemies of my God, of my kingdom, and of my people!
That was amazing. And that's why I wanted you to do that.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. That was an awful accent, but
I think it was spectacular. I think it was very historically accurate.
What I could do, given the restraints.
It was very good. You did it on the spot. I don't know if you've read that before or anything.
Nope, never seen that before.
All right, so we're gonna do our closing comments.
All right.
What is one thing that you would want all of your students to take away from you?
So I think one thing. I think the one thing that I really try and impress upon my students is that above all else, hard work gets it there.
Right.
Every one of our students here is talented, right? It's why they're here. They're talented. But if they don't take pride in doing their best work every single day, every time they get the chance to step on stage or pick up a tool or pick up a brush or put on their dance shoes, whatever, that every single day they got to show up and they got to give it everything they got, because there's a lot of people out there who are talented, right?
But hard
There's
work can beat out talent every time.
always somebody who's more talented than you. But yeah, working hard creates an atmosphere. It's infectious. When you work hard, the people around you work hard, and then the people who are, leading whatever you're working on, if you're a performer in a show and they see your work ethic and they see the way your work ethic bleeds over to other people, man, they're going to want you back, because so often the most talented people actually bring things down. They bring the energy down. They make it about them.
They have the biggest egos and stuff like that.
And that talent will get you in the door, and it might even get you hired once. But it will cost you jobs in the end, and it'll just, man, everything's more fun when you're working hard, and it's for a 15-year-old. Sometimes that doesn't always seem obvious, right? When our new students get here, they don't. When I say something like, doing good work and working hard is more fun, they kind of don't see it. But by the time they leave here, I think they pick up on it and they realize what I mean by that, and they leave here ready to blow the doors off it
and get into the real world of theater and work it out. Are you proud of the students that you've had leave so far?
Oh, man, incredibly proud. We've got some students who are working in some incredible colleges that are off working with some really talented people. And, we're about to graduate that first, full class, the folks who are here with us for all 4 years. And I'm just so excited to see what they go off and do.
I hope to see big things.
They're just great people. And not all of them are going to go off and, have careers on Broadway. Not all of them are going to go off and work in theater, but if they go off and take take pride in doing a good job in whatever they do, I know that's that they're going to build a happy and successful life.
Right.
And I think that ultimately that's our job. Yeah.
To help them just for the real world. Yeah. Anyway. Well, thank you very much for coming around. And thank you guys for watching Nights at the Round Table. I was your host, Ethan, and we're done. Bye.